Hello, welcome back to Below Harvest History. Today we're going to be looking at the railways in Yorkshire, part 2, the rails to Huddersfield. Of the three main lines which crossed the Pennines from Manchester to the West Riding, the most grandiose that of the London and North Western Railway. Its tunnels through the watershed at Stanage seem to set the tone and standards of the whole route. The initial single-line tunnel of 3 miles 66 yards in length was the longest in Britain for nearly 40 years, from its opening in 1849 to the completion of the Severn Tunnel in 1886. Eventually it was joined by an additional single line and a double-line tunnel, the parallel bores containing unique underground water troughs, as they formed the only suitable level stretch on this steeply graded route. Then the 4 tracks descended the Colne Valley in impressive style to Huddersfield Station, magnificent facade forming the only railway architecture of any real merit in the whole of the West Riding. Over 400 feet long and boasting a central portico 68 feet high, the laying of its foundation stone was a matter of such pride that a holiday was declared and the church bells rang from dawn to dusk. Northeast from Huddersfield, the London and North Western found it impossible to quadruple its original main line to Leeds, which shared tracks from Lancashire and Yorkshire at Murfield and then passed through Dewsbury with the 1 mile 1,609 yard Morley Tunnel. So, at the turn of the century, it built the Leeds New Line, cutting out all conflicting junctions, attracting additional traffic from the Spen Valley towns and gaining another major West Riding tunnel in the 1 mile 571 yard bore at Gildersome. These lines represented the London and North Western only major incursion into the West Riding, but were characteristic of a company which, with the lack of modesty, styled itself the Premier Line and boasted that it was noted of punctuality, speed, smooth riding, dustless tracks, safety and comfort. The other railways running to Huddersfield should logically have formed part of the London and North Western Empire, but instead became an insulated portion of the Lancashire and Yorkshire system during the cut and thrust politics of the railway mania. The basic link ran south to Penistone through most attractive countryside, cutting across several river valleys by a succession of viaducts and tunnels. For local services, it was used by expresses to Sheffield, some of which worked forward to London, at first to King's Cross and later to Marylebone. Emerging from this cross-country route were some of the most attractive branch lines in the West Riding, running across tributary valleys to serve small townships of Meltham, Holmfirth and Clayton West. This last branch line still survives, existing like the Huddersfield-Penistone line on a whole or borrowed time for as long ago as 1881, its working costs exceeding receipts. The picture on the main line through Huddersfield is somewhat happier, for it is now the only one of the 3 Trans-Pennine routes still carrying passenger services throughout. Even so, there have been talks of concentrating all traffic on the Calder Valley route, which would make Huddersfield the largest West Riding settlement to be deprived of its rail facilities. The Leeds New Line has already succumbed, and the last trains running over it in 1966, and its substantial stretches are now being obliterated by new housing estates. Now, I have done videos in a couple of these areas. Quadrupling the London and North Western main line from Huddersfield to Leeds would have been expensive. The company built a long loop in the form of the Leeds New Line, which at the same time served several textile towns in the Spen Valley. This view shows an impressive array of overbridges at Hemmenwike, photographed shortly after the completion in the line in 1900, and again I have done a video on that one. And also the major engineering work of the new Leeds line was a 1 mile 571 yard Gildersome Tunnel, seen here in the 1930s with the Prince of Wales 460 emerging in the daylight. Passenger services were withdrawn from this route in 1965, and much of the area around the tunnel has been transformed by the M62 motorway. And again, I will link that video, and that looks totally different from that picture. So I hope you enjoyed that. I'll be doing more in the future. Let me know what you'd like to hear. So until next time, Look out for your history.